All right. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to another webinar at the CMTP YouTube channel. And since I've just put live stream, it's going to say things in my background. Okay. Now it's okay. Thank you so much for attending this particular webinar. I am sure that you had joined at around 11. Sorry for the delay. There were some technical challenges that we faced. We had to change our Zoom link at the last moment. However, I'm really happy that we're finally able to do the webinar. And this is a special session. Why? Because I'm assuming that you have seen a couple of videos that we made earlier. I was the only person talking over there, and this is a special one. Why? Because we have Dr. Itishree Mishra also joining us today. Um, Let me just introduce Dr. Itishree Mishra to all of you. She is first and foremost my mentor, and I've been learning from her since 2012. She is India's preeminent psychometrician. She is one of the pioneers who brought in the API model to India for career guidance. And she has learned directly from probably India's most celebrated psychology academician, Professor Vimla Veeraraghavan, who has championed psychometric assessments. And Dr. Itishree in her career has made many psychometric assessments, not only for high school students, but also for graduates, for professionals, for skill-based recruitment, for recruitment in white-collar jobs, and so on and so forth. I've also, created a small description about Dr. Itishree in the social media post that we put up in the morning today. Um, well, with more than 3 decades of experience, she brings in the kind of expertise that a country like India needs today so that we can develop a lot of counselors to cater to the multiple needs of our students. CMTP is a brainchild of Dr. Itishree and myself. Dr. Itishree, in her career journey, has trained many master trainers of counseling in India, and now finally for the first time she has decided to create a certification, and I'm really happy that we are doing it together. So Dr. Itishree Mishra, ma'am, please welcome to the webinar. We're so happy to have you here.
Yeah, thank you, Saurabh, for your kind words. Uh, I always believe that we get into academics without thinking many a times. And in our era, even today, I mean, we just aspire for certain things and we get it. For example, if I'm studying, I feel that yes, I get good marks in psychology, I got into psychology. I good marks in science, I get into science. And many a times also being a you can say Indian specifically, there is no dearth of advice. Anyone in the family, anyone in the school, any peer group advise you. So you're full of advice. Wherever you go, you get advice. You do this thing, you will do wonder. You do this thing, that will give you a lot of opportunity. And you do this thing, you will get very good job. But ultimately boils down to one thing, that whatever I get, money, power, fulfilling aspiration, doing good in life, ultimately what I want from life, happiness. Happiness, and happiness comes from the informed choice. Informed choice, in the last 30 years, I revealed that I speak to many student, teachers, principal, and professional like us, many youth, and also who are very experienced professional. But ultimately, what I have found is informed choice is not meaning that I ask somebody which college is best and I get into it. I always felt that Who brings the reputation to the college? The good student. Good student, I defined as an interested student who are interested in academics, who wants to do well in academics, they bring reputation. But we call about, we always talk, there is a lot of dynamism in the market. There is a lot of dynamism in the youth also. Their thinking process have changed. Even in this era, I used to speak 10 years back that in 90 days market changes. I feel nowadays every month market changes. There are certain new edition, or what they do is they rename the old career with a new kind of dress. Okay. So, and also, let us go back to the informed choice. Informed choice is knowing myself better. What are my strengths? What are my aspirations? What exactly I'm looking for? And second is, then I do a little research about it. What I'm thinking exactly it is there or not. When I get into the actual talking to the youth, if I say why you want to become a doctor, they say I want to help people. But without realizing that doctor is to diagnose and treat you and cure you. He doesn't help you. Helping industry is probably a service industry or something else. Okay. So if you say that why you want to become an engineer, they say that, yeah, IT gives a lot of money. IT doesn't give a lot of money. If you have a skill, it will give you a lot of money. They say that we want to become an IAS officer. Why you want to become? I want power. That doesn't never gives you power. They gives you lot of policy to write on and have your own path drawn by yourself. Besides the policy making, even controlling certain things, you have many duties you have to fulfill towards the society. So that informed choice is doing little research, as said. Before asking, ask yourself, why I want to go. Let me see what they exactly do. That is one thing. One is knowing my strength. Am I capable to learn the activity involved in those jobs? Or am I able to actually perform? Then professionally, what we talk about is technically, you can say that. Do I have a potential to do well? That means potential to learn quickly and easily. We call it aptitude. Or do I have the affiliation towards activity which I need to perform well? Meaning my personality is matching to those activity or not? I'll give you an example. For example, many a times we visit many shops. Okay. Then we buy something which looks great to us. So there are two things happens. There is a person who is a retail manager or the nowadays the light effect, we call it, sorry. The way they display the light, you find the color is very attractive, the dress look very nice to you. And second thing, the persuasion skill, the personality of the sales guy who is giving you that dress. And you come home, many a times you don't like it. You just dump it. Okay. So, but they have done their job. That means this sales guy is doing fantastic job persuading you or convincing you to buy it. And the manager or the shop floor manager have done a fantastic decoration or lighting system that attracts you to visit the shop. Okay. So other thing is that, we all are born with certain potential. And what we try to recognize or relate to is how I'm doing academically. Earlier, if I say I was contemplating myself that earlier what you used to say that if you get into a brand college or which has a good branding, good name or good reputation, or you go abroad and study, so you get fantastic job and a career path. But I feel that last 10, 15 years, it's a myth. Unless that probably they brand the institute that will give you the entry level job, probably. And most of the institute also do not invite people to take you from the campus. So thing is that then, sorry, something popped up. So what is most important is if you understand your potential, if you understand your strength, then probably you will upgrade your skill. Reskilling is the era. Everything is changing. Any profession you take, everything, something new is adding on. Take it IT, take it teaching, take it journalism, take it our profession as a career counselor. If I don't upgrade my skill, if I don't research, probably I won't be able to advise. Okay. And initially I spoke about that we all love to advise. You get into any group, if somebody is there and his or her son or daughter getting into some college, they will ask in the group that what which college is better, this one or that one. Irony is there, everybody advise
Exactly. So, ma'am,
this.
that's what the thing is. I mean, when everyone is advising in India or similar cultures to India, I know there are similarities with our culture in East Asia, Southeast Asia, Middle East, and North Africa. There is a lot of similarity. We depend a lot on our known or trusted decision makers or people who influence our decisions. So, what do you think is the scope of career counseling in a country like India today?
Yeah, no. As I said that many of us are studied psychology, okay, studied human resource management, studied social work. I think these are the three curriculum which probably qualify you to become a counselor. But most important thing is that when I advise, do I advise scientifically? And coming back to the scope, I think if you have an idea of advising and advising in right way, the scope is mammoth. Because one key things about career counseling is it is a continuous process. It doesn't stop in your life. For example, if you contemplate what stream or what subject to take, that is 9th standard or 8th standard, it starts. Then you study 10th standard, then you reach to 11th standard, and nowadays there are a lot of flexibility in subject choice. Without knowing that what is my eligibility criteria to, for example, I have a aspiration or something. So there is a scope also. For example, I say if I'm studying in 8th standard, there is a scope. 9th standard, there is a scope. 10th standard gives you a lot of scope because there are versatility in the subject. You need to have a good subject combination to get into your aspired career or you are best in or best suited for. So there is a scope. Any student 10th standard studying across the country, across Asia, across the world, globe, I can say. So there is, then if I come to 11th and 12th, ironically, many of us do not go to the expert taking advice. So there are chances that I'm making mistake. Okay. And it is not that I cannot rectify mistake. Any point of time I can rectify mistake. Probably if I haven't taken science, I cannot go back to science. And there are also certain things are also without science, also certain design career and other career can be managed. But do I have the information? I don't have. So a 11th standard student need your help. A 12th standard student, for example, there are A, B, C, D reason. Even I am a very good student, fantastic academically. I put lot of efforts. I don't get into any entrance. How I decide that where to go, how to go, what is my next combination? So I get stuck. So there is a scope. Any student studying in the 12th standard, you have a scope to advise. Okay, then I get into college. I always feel that college give you extension of personality. As I said that, I don't, nobody teaches you, nobody guide you, nobody gives handhold you. Okay. But do you think we are very independently doing it? Because we are not taught to how to do it. If I know my strength, probably 80% independence I have got. Still 20% I seek help. Okay, that you have a scope. After graduation, you have a scope. Again, many students ask me, do I get into the 4-year course or 3-year course? When I'm in 3rd year, I contemplate, should I go for a 4-year course or I stop at 3rd year? So there is a scope. For example, then comes the most difficult one, that many students like me also, I always thought that after post-graduation, I will only do job. But I did my MPhil and PhD. And after that, I said, I will not do this. I will go for teaching. Then I left teaching, got into corporate. I said, no, corporate is enough. While corporate work, I said, I will not never do career counseling. But I did it. So there is a continuous change. So career counseling has a scope till you reach probably a mid-level career. For example, there are fantastic scope in mid-level career because after 15 years or 20 years, I find that there is a very rare scope to get into the ladder. So what I do? Should I change my perspective about my career? Should I join a startup? Do I have an entrepreneurship quality? Or should I take a risk? I mean, there is a scope.
You're right, ma'am.
Okay.
So what you were initially saying was that a lot of people do think that they are capable or they are making their career decisions very independently, whereas they're not making them independently. There is a lot of conditioning which is happening. There's a lot of influence which is there, and due to that influence, they might think that this is my career decision, but it's not. And just seeking advice from an expert might help them improve that career decision rather than regretting it later, or rather than having lesser number of options later. If that expert advice is available earlier, that might help them, right? Now the other part, what you mentioned was like the scope of career counseling is not just only at high school level but also later in college level, beyond college. You want to go for doctorate, post-doctorate, mid-level careers. You want to switch, you want to get into entrepreneurship. And this is something that I've also explained multiple times in my webinars with the career decision making model, the copyrighted model that I have called spheres of understanding, and how you make career decisions. And so there is scope for all of these things. Now, ma'am, most people think that if you know enough, if you have enough information from the outside world, right, then you can make good career decisions. Is that right, or is that not right?
That is also a myth. No information is enough. Do you think you read 42 pages of Google, then you have enough knowledge? It is not. Information, there is no limit. Only thing is, am I seeking for the right kind of information? What information I want? When I get into, I said that many people, when YouTube started, wanted to become a YouTuber. without knowing what actually expenditure they have to make, how to go about it. So it is happening outside India, so they got into it. And many of them also, I say that career by chance, they do well because they communicate well. There is a support system at home. They have a good network, so they get into it. But many people jump to it without knowing what is the requirement. And information also, when you get into Google, for example, I want to become a YouTuber. There are 1,000 people talking about 1,000 things. Okay. How I actually summarize them. Even I said that, yes, there is a AI which gives me summary of everything. Okay. ChatGPT will give you me a summary of something. Do I have that capability to analyze and take my decision? That is one. Second is what I'm looking for exactly. That will give me happiness or not? That will give me an upliftment in my career? I don't. Uncertainty. Although there is always an uncertainty, but it is better if I know my strength well. As I say, aptitude do not really develop after 14 years of age. The research say. Till that, we have to believe that. Okay. Then personality can be modified. And also I can imbibe on certain personality if it is needed. So how I check my interest, why I'm interested in, as you said some seconds back, that I feel that that is my independent decision. I want that. But I'll tell you, many hobbies also influence you. You start enjoying certain hobby, but do you know how to convert those hobby into career? That question you have to ask yourself,
You're
right?
right. You're right. So that is what I tell people, that there is outside information, external information. It's important, but it's not the only thing. Why? Because you don't know whether that information is relevant for you, and as you said, ma'am, you don't even know how to analyze that information properly.
Hmm.
Secondly, if you do not know your own strengths, your own aptitudes, all those things, you don't know whether that information is applicable to you or not. And thirdly, even after you understand all this, do you exactly know how to reach that career option? Like, even if, let's say, a hobby can be probably a very good fit career for you, but do you know how to convert it into a hobby, which is like the mapping of career options? And this is why, the career decision making, a lot of people get stuck only in one of these parts and not everything. So, ma'am, a lot of counselors exist in India today. I mean, we are blessed to have. We have in the history of modern India, we have the largest number of counselors in the country today. So, a lot of students are benefiting, but again, 95% of the country is still not benefiting from them. We need to create more career mentors. Ma'am, who do you think is an ideal candidate to become a career mentor? I'm not only talking about metros, but I'm talking about smaller cities as well.
Yeah. Uh, becoming career mentor is a responsibility. First, you have to own that responsibility because you are going to predict it. Many of us, we learn the process. Okay, this is the test I have to give, and this is the interpretation I have to give. Like any other influence, also I have my own influence on myself. So probably I get judgmental many a times. You are a good student. Try this. Okay, but I have to suspend them. Academics is nothing to do with career. Okay. What I feel is, first, I say intent. Second is skilling. Skill is very important. It's nothing to do with that you are a very smart speaker or smart communicator. You can influence that child for half an hour. And if you remember, there are many teachers you feel wow in the class. And after the class, when you get into book, you feel that you haven't understood anything in the class. Same thing happens in career counseling. if I speak a lot of flowery words, I'm not empathetic enough. Okay. And I don't know the exact scientific way to interpret the test, then, and also many times we influence the decision of the student. The best process is to actually support the student to think in a direction and take decision. If the student own the decision, probably he will get back when he gets stuck. He will make less mistake. Okay. And also I always feel is that we always say make mistake, don't give up, get into it. But I feel if you keep on doing mistake, it become garbage on. Okay, you say that you learn from that mistake. It is easy to say. Do I know how to actually learn from that mistake? So that guidance, who will give? The career counselor. Okay. And also we always say these are suggestions. Okay. Many times because of the life situation, financial, economical problem, the location problem, I may not pursue certain career. Do I consider as a counselor? So many things like, and also I always believe that we always say that, why parents actually overpower the student thinking. I ask one question. I'm a parent. If I don't aspire for my child, whom I should aspire for? I have already midway in my career or probably finishing my career. So I need an aspiration, but that aspiration is talk about how to talk about that probably the expert can help the parent.
Exactly. So a lot of parents, they have aspirations. Every parent wants their child to be, happy, successful in life. But what they don't probably understand is that they need some expert guidance in that. Don't try to use external information and then create it into an aspiration, or don't try to create an aspiration which was not even fit for you, for your
Hmm.
own child, without knowing your child properly. And a career counselor can actually help you understand that. Anybody who's good at anything will be successful in life, but you need
Definitely.
to understand what you're good at, what you can be good at, what are the things available for you, right?
Yeah.
So, ma'am, tell us, like, can anybody become a career counselor? Should they be from a certain city with a certain education background? Is there an age limit to becoming a career counselor? How can they start?
First of all, I want to tell you is there is no age limit. Okay. And definitely I need to have a degree, a kind of degree to be qualified as a counselor. Okay. But thing is that career counseling, if I want to get into, and I'm certified and backed by psychologists or an organization who are actually doing career counseling, with any education background, I can become a career counselor. Okay. But what people make mistake many a times, they copy paste the test from the internet and they take the interpretation and become a career counselor. And second is college selection counselor is not a career counselor. Okay, he or she is helping you to select the college, giving the background. And there are many things, also many biasness happens in the college selection, and that we'll not talk about it. But thing is that I always tell that if you know your strength, okay, college comes secondary. I may not be able to afford the best college, or I may not switch the location. There are certain constraints. But if I know my strength, I will choose the subject which are essential to give me the best suited career in future. And when my situation become different, I get into those college. If not in graduation, post-graduation, not in post-graduation, PhD, postdoc, or nothing. Nowadays, there are lot of best college give you lot of skill certification, upskilling. Okay. For example, I am a career counselor for 30 years. If I don't know how AI is making good decision or a bad decision, then probably I lag behind. One is that any education background backed with a psychologist and a good organization doing career counseling can get into it. Otherwise, if you have a background of social work and or psychology or human resource, that gives you a clear path. Okay, that gives you a clear path because you understand certain subject around it. You know how you have a certain people skill, not necessarily, because getting degree doesn't mean I have the skill.
Yes.
Many
So
people also getting into career counseling without knowing themselves.
exactly. In fact, there are so many young aspiring counselors that I interact with, ma'am, and they have taken, degrees like the 6-month diploma from IGNOU or NCERT, or the postgraduate diploma in guidance and counseling from, there are so many universities in India which are offering from Jamia to, small colleges in Kerala. All these colleges are offering that 1-year diploma. People have done a lot of those things, and suddenly they think, okay, this was the only thing which was required to become a career counselor. What probably they don't understand is, yes, you probably have the theory with you right now, but career counseling is a practice. You need to practice it. How will you practice it without clients, or what are the best practices to implement while you're imparting your services? Those are some of the things which these programs, in my opinion, do not teach. uh, but do you think, ma'am, these programs have added value? What kind of value do they add, and what do they not have right now, which a lot of these counselors need to develop now?
Actually, I think I always feel that the people are very fortunate who get into the college which gives you the actual practice session. Okay, 100 hours of practice session, 50 hours, and that is evaluated and discussed. It's not about only having go to the hospital, go to the school, practice and come back. It is also there is a mentor in the college or the university who discuss the case and close it. Or if you have a difficult case, you discuss your peer or your mentor, you gives a solution to. Okay, what happens is many times we just keep on keep on thinking about problems, but we as a career counselor should be part of the solution. How become the part of the solution? When you actually have a practice session. And unfortunately, many of the diploma degree, we have a thesis. For example, we have a synopsis to submit, we have a thesis. Thanks to the Google and ChatGPT and other things, I know how to write synopsis. But when I asked that this is your data, do you know what it means? They have no clue about it. Statistics also, it's very, you can say, it's a vicious circle. It gives you the same kind of loop always. Okay, you can interpret any way you want. But do I have that knowledge or insight to interpret it?
Yeah.
So that is one. Second is practical experience. And unfortunately, we don't have any licensing system. So, that's why anybody can become a career counselor. Because I have a degree, I can get into it. Degree doesn't qualify you to become the best counselor, what I say. There are certain criteria you need to meet to become best counselor. And experience give a lot of elevation in your personality. For example, when I started my career, I was hyped by my academic scores. But thanks to my mother, she always used to give a mirror to us, saying that one university you have taught. There are thousands of university around the world. So you are competing with at least 1,000 people. So be modest. And I still learn from the student. And also now with experience, I have learned how to allow student to make mistake. Then also help them out to get into the best suited career. Okay, because if you impose, these are Z generation, right? They won't listen to you. It's kind of what happens is I said that I don't impose. That doesn't mean your body language may be imposing. Your communication, if you're too much logical in your communication, that is imposing. That is influencing. So are you holding back those qualities? And it needs practice. I still learn, as I said. I still watch video, what teams are talking about. Okay. Every day, whatever I see or read is a learning for me. That kind of attitude is needed, right?
And that is the toughest thing to develop, isn't it, ma'am?
Yes,
Because
yes.
uh, there is also like a lot of there are different motivations which I've seen. A lot of people have different motivations to become a career counselor. A lot of them were kind of pushed into it through their job or through personal requirement, or they were guiding some other person in their family, and then they realize, okay, I'm good at this. Let me start doing it professionally, right? And they base a lot of their experiences on their own personal experiences, which might or might not be useful for the clients that they're trying to reach out to. Then there are people, ma'am, who use multiple psychometric assessments for the same client, and then try and pick and choose whatever they understand from the reports of each of the psychometric assessments to make a picture of the client and then approach, not completely sure whether what they're telling the client is correct or not. You and I, we both receive so many people who have taken some test from somebody else, brain mapping and all these things, and then they come to us for interpretation, because as you rightly said, the interpretation is very subjective also, so you need to understand how to do it properly, and the interpretation of every report might not lead to the best kind of career mapping. There are reports, there are psychometric assessments which will tell the student that you can be a farmer also, you can be an actor also, you can be a cricketer also, and you can be a scientist also. Yes, of course you can be, but which kind of scientist, which part in farming, that they do not explain, and then that is the job of the career counselor to explain. And unfortunately, the career counselor himself or herself gets so confused after reading the report that they push aside the psychometric assessment. They say, I will manage it, and they manage the conversation with their interpersonal skills. They build a rapport, they build the trust, and then the parents are also convinced, okay, fine, if the counselor is saying this, must be right. That might or might not be right. This is where they not only cheat themselves, but they also cheat the client, which creates a bad ecosystem for everyone. Like you rightly pointed out, ma'am, it's a very, very responsible job. It needs to have a lot of accountability. So do you think, ma'am, that we are at a stage in India where standardization of career counseling practices needs to be done? Some level of references, some level of standards need to be set, which might or might not be there in the industry, so that people understand how they can also have a very high quality career counseling practice.
Yeah, Saurabh, I'll tell you, technically we call it subjective interpretation. And that if you're doing it, you take information, analyze the person, and gives the suggestions or advice, that is called subjective. Okay. But to be correct, 90%, I'm telling you, you require at least 25 to 30 years of your experience And also you must have gone through decades of students studying in 10th, 11th, 12th, so that you develop those kind of insight. If you're in that position, probably it makes sense. As I said, 90% of the time still you will be correct. But thing is that if you use a standard test, which is actually devised and standardized in India, then it gives you more confidence because it gives you the errorless results. And thanks to also software, they give you errorless scoring. Okay. Then the next label, I think, is again that if you have the score, as I said that, sometimes I was listening to some people in the metro saying that, if I have a fever, they will say, "Arey, paracetamol kha lo, ye kha lo, wo kha lo." So that advice comes like that. Also, if I see the score, I say, "Ye kar lo, wo kar lo," 10 thing I can say. Okay. But, the doctor will tell you what kind of fever you have. Okay. It will diagnose you, and also it will prescribe you based on your body weight and what kind of bacteria infection or viral infection, whatever you have. So that's why if you have a scientific score also, and if you don't have the support of interpretation, then you might get into trouble. As you said, I think 5 minutes back, that there are 10 to 20 career is given to you. Okay. Then it is job of your 14-year-old or 16-year-old to finalize what is the best career I will be going. So that is actually the job of the counselor, the parent support, and the student. Three of them. Then only the person can zero down. And many students know if you give backup plan, they won't work. They will not be focused. They say, "Ye nahi hoga to wo kar lungi." So that also, that insight of a counselor comes with experience, practice, or a support system, feedback from a very good counselor who has a good number of experience. So that's why you exactly need a doctor to prescribe a good, otherwise probably my body will heal automatically and I get cured. But if I have a trouble system, then I'm stuck. Like that, many students are capable of doing many things. They are multi-talented, their personality is innovative. Many times, even if I have a aptitude is not cut for engineering, for example, as you know, engineering is easy to pass. They will pass out. And if their personality is good and they have a good study habit, they will probably do 8 or 9 CGP while studying. But when they get stuck, when they get into job. Although nowadays they upskill, put a lot of skills. So it is, I said that you have to make a good choice between I want to put a lot of effort and get into career, or I have to put less effort and become happy in my career. So that choice is the student choice. It's not your choice. Okay, but you as a counselor have to show that him or her. That these are the trouble you might face. And if you're ready to do that, I'm with you. Whenever there is a problem, you get back to me. I will suggest how to draw the next path.
Absolutely right, ma'am. This is exactly the kind of analogy that we also use in communicating a lot of things, that a psychometric assessment is like a blood report. But if you read the blood report, you probably will not, understand the nuances. But if you show the blood report to a seasoned doctor, a professional, then they will exactly tell you what is wrong with you and how to go about it. So a psychometric assessment is similar to a blood report. If you don't show it to somebody who knows how to interpret it and do proper career mapping, it will not make a lot of sense to you. The report might be easy to read, but it is not easy to interpret, and that is where you need assistance. Just 2 days ago, ma'am, we did a counseling of this girl, and there was one personality trait out of 28 personality traits which was on high. And the moment I noticed it, I circled it and I told the parents that your daughter has developed a big comfort zone in her life, and the personality trait was monotonous was high. So she liked doing monotonous activities. She would repeat and she was very happy doing it. That means she has developed a comfort zone. And then even after a lot of years of spending, my team, they were very surprised with that interpretation. It is because of the 12, 13 years that I spent. It is because that I've learned from Dr. Itishree Mishra that I can understand the interpretation of that one personality trait, which completely changed the career counseling conversation in that session, right? So these are the kind of skills that you should develop, and we are trying to help you learn all that through the CMTP certification. This is one of the many webinars that you will see, and we will have many subjective conversations with you, try and understand your challenges, and then help you figure out your challenges in that program. We have put the link for registration in the description of the video. It's a live video, but we will be editing it in the next 5-10 minutes and putting the link over there as well. What we are thinking is, let's also do a close session tomorrow, because we're planning to start the first cohort on Sunday. Let's do a close session tomorrow. We have a lot of around 30 registrations who are interested in attending something like that. If you also want to attend the close session just to understand better about what CMTP is, what we are trying to do let us know. We'll schedule it tomorrow, and all of you can, we can have an open conversation within a closed Zoom session, not on a public forum. I understand asking questions on a public video like this YouTube live stream can be, a little uncomfortable for a lot of you. That's absolutely okay. We're all counselors. We're all in this together, and we all have to make India career mentorship ready by 2030. So, ma'am, any concluding
Yeah,
points?
before closing it, I'll tell you as what I understood in my 30 years of experience, that what you do best is your profession. That is, you are helping yourself to get into a best profession and you are enjoying it. But when you start thinking about others doing well, that become a mission. Okay. We have started a mission to have thousands of counselors with tremendous potential and skill. That is our mission. It's not that you need to be a smart communicator, you will become one. Okay. So help us meeting this mission. Okay. And don't think it is a job, create certain passion. Okay.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for taking your time and those beautiful words. I hope all of you who have watched this video today found a lot of value in it. And we actually planned the session for 30 minutes, but I think we've already done around 45 minutes. So we will not be able to take a lot of questions in this session. But as I said, we will be doing multiple such webinars. We are here, we are accessible. Please ask questions. If you have any questions about CMTP or anything else, do not hesitate. We have an entire team dedicated for this. And as I said, tomorrow we plan to hold a closed session also for all the interested participants. So please attend, please ask all your doubts, and let's get learning together. Thank you so much. See you next.